for joining me and the Old Grumpy Prosperity Team for this week's episode of Grow Your Mind and Money. Tonight we are interviewing Carl Vest, the creator and collaborator for the Audio Sciences Laboratory, whose music moves and grooves with a distinct flavor all their own. Now, Carl has experienced the other side of the mountain, the valley, and the mountaintop, and has used those challenges to empower himself and others in pursuing their dreams. Carl's willingness to support others and make a difference has him be a champion for humanity. And you guessed it, as usual, it's time for a little spoken word to kick off the show from none other than our Miss Wonderful Shani, the original Sunshine Princess of Poetry.
Quiet storm. Unfortunately, Shani couldn't make it in the studio. She had some family things to take care of, the little ones. But she did send us some spoken word from one of her favorite poets and a favorite piece from an old grumpy legend. Let's hear a little bit of this track to set out the mood.
You are my sunshine on a cloudy day. The finest sculptor's hands couldn't capture your essence with the most expensive clay. Simply because your beauty starts internally, and my love ain't going nowhere, I am yours for eternity. I want you to be that Proverbs 31 type of woman who can overcome any obstacle and never be fazed. A lady who understands that charm is deceitful and beauty is vain, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. I want to give you that agape love that 1 Corinthians speak of, that is patient, kind, and that will never end. I want you to be a strong-minded sister, the Mrs. to my Mr., the Mia to my Remus. A woman who keeps her eyes on the prize and never lets jealousy come between us. You see, my heart was barren like Sarah's womb until love was conceived, and you made me believe that we could coexist and do this. When I think of how much you cared for me and filled that empty space, I first give it honor to God for His amazing grace. You see, I was a lonely man, afraid of rejection, lacking direction, until you came along and, following the tracks of my tears, wrapped me in your arms and showed me love and affection. Translation, I will love you forever and leave you never. The Lord revealed you to me in a dream. That's how I know we're meant to be together. I can't wait for that day when you're walking down that aisle, wearing the most elegant dress, the same color as your smile. As we take our vows and look into each other's eyes, my mind fast forwards to waking up to a blessing every time the sun rises. Now there will be some challenges along the way. The devil will try to attack us without warning. We may not even see him coming. But I'd rather have bad times with you than good times with another woman. Before I could blink, he blessed me with you, and that's exceeding abundantly above all that I could ever ask or think. Ever since the day I met you, you filled my world with so much love. I prayed for a soulmate, and he sent me a blessing down from up above. My love, I want you to know that I've missed you since birth. Also that I am a real man who understands a woman's worth. Sweet lady, it is your love that I hunger. And I'm willing to wait forever, because what doesn't kill me can only make me stronger. I have been denied the pleasure of your presence, so make yourself seen. And I know your heart can hear me because my pulse is racing. So I'll be waiting for you at the beginning of every morning and at the end of every day. I can't wait for our souls to collide. My beautiful bride, my fictitious fiancé.
All right, that was an old grumpy legend and known as baritone with my fictitious fiancé. And before we continue, it's time to see what Money Making Thought Quiet Storm has for us today. Quiet Storm.
Thank you again, Ronnie B. Your highest goodness. You cannot take more than you give. It's impossible to sustain for longer than the blink of an eye. You can, however, give more than you take. And this is what makes your experience of living so beautiful. Value exists for you to the extent you invest yourself in it. Fulfillment is generated by what you do with what you have, not by what you seize or possess. You cannot sneak past the necessity of providing a contribution to each day. The desire to make a difference is part of you, and the more readily you embrace it, the better. Don't spin your wheels in a futile attempt to gain something for nothing. See that the gain is in the doing and do. Let go of what frustrates you and let in what empowers and fulfills you. Give your highest goodness and effort to life and know how good life can be. What I have learned about myself and growing my mind when it comes to the theme, your highest goodness, and the action I will take, is that for me, what I know about myself is that mind and spirit are the same, they are one, and as long as I am doing something positive with that and taking action on it, or actions consistently, it will come to fruition. It is time for our special interview with Carl Vest, the music scientist.
Hello. Hi.
All right. In this part of the show, we'll learn about a challenge Carl faced in having his dreams fulfilled. A challenge that knocked the wind out of his sails. Somehow, some way, he kept going and turned that challenge from seeming defeat to victory. Thank you, Carl Vest, can I call you the Einstein of music, for being on the show tonight?
Yes, that's
all right, Carl. Welcome to the show. Well, anybody that would have a entertainment group known as the Audio Scientist Laboratory, has me hanging out with Mr. Einstein.
You got it.
Carl,
that is very true.
Show. All right. Well, Carl, we're going to dive right into it. Carl, please share an incident or time in your life that knocked the wind out of your sails, when the going got even rougher and you felt like you were lost. Now, please be as specific as possible so we can truly appreciate what you were experiencing.
Well, it has been several, needless to say, when you put a project like this together, but financing has always been the hardest part to come up with, because basically nowadays in music or in anything, films or even poetry, that was a lovely poem that gentleman read, by the way. That was very beautiful. You have to, while you are looking for someone to finance your project, you basically have to end up self-financing. So there was a time when I was doing a lot of the self-financing for the project, and it ended up where several of the band members did not appreciate what I was doing. For maybe some reasons of jealousy, some reasons of this or that. So it became very difficult and very dark, and it almost shut the whole project down because you start having infighting. I mean, at that point we were not, developed or didn't have any CDs out. We were putting some CDs together at the time. But you start infighting, so while you're sitting there in the middle of putting a project together, you're also having these little infighting battles and these fires that you have to try to put out to get the project done. So that was a really challenging project. So then,
Well, during that, let's say during that time, okay, just so that we can get a feel for what you were going through, what was an example of one of the let's say, the infighting?
Well, again, I think it was more maybe from my head based on, some sense of jealousy of, because since I was financing a lot of the project, needless to say, I would be trying to arrange the dates of the studio or things, trying to get things to move. So in order to get things to move, you've got to organize, 5, 6, or 7, or however many people that you're working with. So some people can take offense to that. It's not an offense to try to organize 7 people to get together on a Wednesday or on a Friday or on a Saturday. It's just that's the way it has to be done when you're trying to put a project together. I would imagine it's like trying to do a play. You have to get all these people together at one time. So, like I say, some of the members ended up taking offense to me trying to.
And what did the offense look like?
What did the... Say that again.
Just so we can get a feel for what it looked like when they took offense.
Well, there's starting to be, there becomes pushback.
Well, let me help you. Let me help you out a little bit. Can you give us an incident where someone took offense?
Well, there was a situation.
I mean, not without. I want you to be responsible without naming any names or anything.
Oh, that's fine. Now, no big deal. But there was one time we were trying to get there was a meeting that we had to have one time, or many meetings that you try to go through. So again, we were working.
But at this particular meeting, what happened?
Well, it took me several weeks to get the meeting arranged because again, you're working with. It was about 7 people's schedules at that time. And so I finally got everybody down Saturday morning, maybe 10 o'clock. I don't remember the specific details, but nonetheless, so we get there right at the start of the meeting. One guy wants to take offense with me right at the start of 10 o'clock. Now, like I say, it's taken me like 2 or 3 weeks to get this meeting together. And he ended up storming out of the meeting. Just based on what he thought was basically, and I'm paraphrasing, but being overbearing, trying to arrange things. And it was like, he didn't understand at the time that all the time that went into trying to arrange 7 people.
Well, for you, was that like a slap in the face?
That was a huge slap in the face. Because again, you have to remember.
I could get that.
You have to remember that was one incident, but of course it snowballed from there. I mean, there were. There were.
No. We just want to. I get the law, but we want to hang out with that one incident.
Right.
So
but I'm just saying.
here it is. You set up this. It took you weeks to set up this event.
Correct.
Weeks to get this meeting together, and I assume that this is a meeting for that's going to further the group,
further the project. Absolutely.
Right. Further everything along. And it's with some people that you're trying to show that you got your act together.
That is correct.
And here it is. You go to this meeting. You got the group together. You done bust your behind to get it together. And now Joe, for lack of a better word, got at it.
Right.
And Joe is sitting up here going, and Joe is being accusatory for you running everything. When you were the one who busted your butt, when you were the one who busted your butt to get the meeting in the first place, put up all the money, and Joe could have been replaced anyway.
Right, correct.
That kind of paint a picture of what happened.
Well, paint the picture, and you have to remember this is within about the first 2 minutes of the meeting. It's like,
yeah, no, I'm with you.
Dude, I mean, it's like it took me all this time to get this together, and then, like I said, on incident.
I'm sorry, Mr. Carl. You were saying I'm sorry, you broke up a little bit, Mr. Carl. All right, it looks we may be having a little.
Number.
Okay, we got you back, Carl. Okay.
Okay, you got me.
All right, we're having a little technical difficulty with Carl, but we got him back. But you were saying this all happened in the first 2 minutes. Mm-mm.
First 2 minutes, and then you have to remember this has legs now because this becomes the mentality of the person that I'm dealing with now because this person, they kind of start digging in And then they start talking to other band members and, you know, trying to get them on their side. So then other band members start grumbling. And so then it becomes, like I said, then it becomes less about trying to complete the project and as much about trying to put the fires out of, you know, the other people grumbling and whatnot.
Now, during the time that you were dealing with all of that, and I'll just say all the personality conflicts, and you know, along with that, you're actually doing the project management work, what's involved in producing the result.
Correct.
Now, during that time that you were dealing with the situation, did you find yourself blaming other people, your circumstances, or yourself for how things were going?
Well, again, when these things come up and they just come up out of the blue and there's no, you know, if somebody walked up to you and said, you know, I don't like when you wear a red shirt, then you could say, okay, well, I'll no longer wear a red shirt around this person. But when there's just vague and there's no explanation for things, then it becomes more challenging because then you don't know what you're dealing with. You don't know the specific issue that you're fighting. So that becomes the challenge then sort of to kind of start doing what I call reconnaissance work to try to find out what the issue is, because the person may or may not come up to you, which in this instance they didn't, or the person didn't, but they may not say directly what problem is they're having with you. It's just a generic problem. So that becomes another, you know, 2 or 3 month, you know.
Oh God. Okay.
You know, because then you're trying to figure out what's going on, and if you talk to the person, like I said, they don't give you direct feedback like, yeah, like I said, I don't like when you wear red shirts, or, you know, I don't like when, you know, your hair is long, or any combination of those things. It tends to be rather vague.
Being on this show, vague communicates a world. Vague leaves you in a place where you're always at fault, never knowing why.
Thank you. Right. Exactly.
You know, and it does. It leaves you in a place where you're always at fault. And the thing about vague, and I'm just putting this out here, is that people who don't want to do the work make sure that they're vague, so that if it's successful, they can grab the glory.
Right.
And if it's a failure, you are at fault anyway.
Right.
And now, at what point do...
Right, exactly.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, then, from that point, just in line with what you're saying, those people stop really producing for the benefit of the project, because then they get on some soapbox for themselves, and it becomes, again, less about the project and more about their soapbox.
Yeah. Now, you know, because we know that, you know, of course, you know, that phase ended and the gang is moving forward. But for you personally, at what point did you just stop caring about it, about the personalities, the upset, what was going, you know, and just said, hey, you know what, I'm moving on and we doing this?
Well, I ended up really talking to one of the guys in the band and just having some heart-to-heart conversations with him. And ultimately, those people, the person involved and several other people we no longer work with, I mean, you know, either they make their own way out or it's just sort of an agreeable parting of the ways. So me and the other guy who I'm working with now, my associate, Kevin Ford, we ended up having conversations and just talking through things. And ultimately, again, we love our work and we love what we do. So it just came down to the two of us, and we had to rebuild the whole project really from the ground up.
Oh, well, that's what. But let's kind of just go back just a moment, because there was a point where you were putting up with that, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, you were putting up with it. You were putting up with it, and you were good intention. Your heart was in the right place. You were good.
Correct.
Look, we're a group. I'm gonna, you know, even if you don't get it, I got enough spirit and strength where I'll carry you along until you do get it.
Correct.
But then there was a point where you said, no more. I'm not going to put up with this.
Well, again,
I mean, it might have been you might have been having a meal, at a restaurant, but you knew you weren't going to do that. It wasn't going to go that way no more.
Well, I think getting to that place takes a while. At least it did for me.
No. I got it. It takes a place to get there, but you got there, right?
Once I got there, I started.
No, but can you tell us the point? Now, I just want you to kind of think about the question I'm asking, okay?
The point. You want to know the exact point when I got it.
Well, what were you doing when it kind of, what was the thought? Well, give us the picture.
Well, like I say, it's the picture is just vague, complicated because, like I say, it takes time. But the point I would say, that I finally said enough is enough. Probably having a conversation with Kevin about some of the things and what ended up happening.
So one day, so it would look like this. Man,
let me back it up.
Okay. One day.
Okay, well, let me back it up. I ended up reading a book, and I love to read books, and mostly on musicians. Clearly, that's what I'm interested in doing. So I ended up reading a book about Bruce Springsteen. It was not written by him, but it was a book about him, and it was a book about his music and kind of the people that follow him. And in that book, they were stating that Bruce's music, part of his philosophy is that life is good, life is bad. There are good things that happen to good people. There are bad things that happen to good people. But whatever happens in your life, you have to brush yourself off, smack yourself in the face, and move on and get over it and keep moving forward. So that was really the moment after I read this book. It was just like, even this is your best dogs or your best friends or people that you think you're friends with. That happens in life. People that you love betray you. People that you don't love betray you, or whatever. Things happen, good, bad, or indifferent. But whatever the circumstance is, you have to get up and keep moving. So that was the moment.
Wow. I thank you, Carl, for letting me pester you to get you to share that.
I got it.
Wow. That was awesome. Wow.
Thank you.
And I'm kind of like, cause, I'm like, I don't know you as a person, but, I'll just say my stereotype. Yes, I'm a black person. I can stereotype folks.
Right, you got it.
with the best of them,
right.
like hey, Detroit and Bruce Springsteen, and
right.
I'm going okay, and
right.
But just because my mother actually sent me to school and to learn stuff,
right.
I do get that. People who create greatly, they're expansive. They're not in one little niche. They spread themselves out. They're not trying to be righteous about a particular music form or art, whatever. They let the world come to them. So that is just awesome. Now, we could talk forever, but we will be hearing more from Carl later in the show. We're going to play a couple of his tracks and let's see what they do. All right, I'm hoping the best for you, Carl. But I do want to, now our theme for the night is your highest goodness, which is what Quiet Storm so eloquently shared earlier. Now, thinking about your highest goodness, what words of wisdom will you share with our listeners? Okay.
Want me to do that now or later?
Now, just a couple of words of wisdom you share with our listeners from the theme, your highest goodness.
Highest goodness is always forgiveness. It's the worst. It's the worst thing to do. It's not always easy. And speaking of that story, one of the main culprit of that story, I just had to forgive this past week. I mean, in terms of just things that went on and, in our lives. And I think that just happened this week. So again, forgiveness is always the best thing. It's not always the easiest. It's not always something I'm always fond of doing. I am a mortal Christian, so it's not always easy. But so the highest goodness would always be forgiveness in terms of what I'm thinking. And then love. I think love and forgiveness are equal components in many respects.
All right. Well, again, I thank you for sharing, Carl. You've been wonderful. We're going to hear more from Carl later in the show, but it's time for my favorite prosperous spirit with Miss Cookie.
All right, great.
Thank you, Ronnie B. Respect. I respect all beings as unique expressions of God. A tree has branches in all shapes and sizes. Each branch, while different, is an expression of the tree, just as all life is an expression of God. All life is good, expressing and manifesting in the physical world. I feel a deep sense of admiration and high regards for the unique expression of life all around me. I show respect to my fellow human beings, animals, and the environment by treating them with love just as I desire to be treated. I, too, am a manifestation of the divine and understand the importance of treating myself with love and care. I show respect for my life and all others, for we are all unique expressions of God.
Stay tuned for the Kitchen with Miss Cookie. Quiet Storm featuring music from our guest Carl Best, the Einstein of music, and his group, the Audio Scientist Laboratory. On the Corner. We'll be right back.
Intention plus activity. Intentions with no effort behind them are nothing more than empty wishes. Activity without any purposeful intention to direct it can often be wasted. The way to invite achievement into your life with rock-solid intentions and enthusiastic efforts. Decide where you want to go, who you want to be, how you want to live, what you want to do, and then get yourself deeply involved in life. The interesting thing is, your activities does not necessarily have to be overly directed toward your intentions. In fact, your efforts can often be more effective when they're not directly connected to your goals. Know your intentions, and then give your very best in every situation, to every person, every challenge you encounter. You will find that your intentions being realized, and probably not in the way you imagine. You have many more resources and abilities than you know about. And with strong intentions and commitment to making a difference, you'll tap into hidden abundance, often without even realizing it. Choose where you want to go and give your best to every little moment along the way. One way or another, you'll get there. Prosperous divas. Prosperity is a mindset that can be created by anyone, especially you.
Welcome back. We give it all to you on Grow Your Mind and Money. And you better believe that we do it all with love. Oh, so something smells great. It's got to be that dish Miss Cookie is whipping up in that kitchen. Miss Cookie, what you got going on over there?
Thank you, Shani, and welcome to the kitchen. We have a great recipe to feed those hearty appetites that have been working diligently on growing their minds and money. Tonight we have a delicious, scrumptious, one of my favorite recipes. Is easy and you don't have to watch it cook. My style of crock pot Italian beef. Get those pens and paper handy. Here comes your ingredients. You will need 1 beef pot roast, about 3 to 5 pounds, 3 cups of water, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of pepper, 1 teaspoon of oregano, 1 teaspoon of onion salt, 1 teaspoon of Italian seasoning, 1 teaspoon of garlic sauce, 1 teaspoon of basil, 1 package good seasoned salad dressing, the dry mix, 1 medium green pepper thinly sliced, 1 medium red pepper thinly sliced, 4 medium white potatoes cut in quarters, 1 medium onion sliced. If you don't like onion, it's optional, but it does make it taste delicious to me. Preparation and direction. Place the pot roast in the crock pot. Pour the remaining ingredients over the beef and cook on low all day in a crock pot or on high for 6 hours. Shred the beef and return to broth after 10 minutes and cook 10 minutes longer, or you don't have to shred the beef. Serve on warm split buns or with crusty bread. It is delicious, it is scrumptious, and the cook don't have to watch it. Now it is time for the corner with Quiet Storm. Let's give her a smooch and a rose.
Thank you so much, Miss Cookie. Welcome, 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 folks. Tonight, we are definitely featuring music. This is music from the Audio Sciences Laboratory with their album, Symphony No. 1. Now, as you know, we usually go to our team to vote whether the track should get a smooch and a rose or if it really needs more fertilizing. And tonight, the name of the first track is Tonight. Let's check it out, Ronnie B.
We gon' get this in non-stop. Shake that cool bottle till the cap pop. Just leave the rest to me. I got the recipe. Swerving every curve of her, I'm learning tonight. Now listen up, open your mind tonight. And baby, I swear tonight you're mine. And you know this love feels alright. If I kiss you, would you be mine? Oh, tonight, tonight. Oh, tonight, tonight. If you with it, girl, then come get it, girl. Promise you won't forget it, girl. 'Cause you a real one and I recognize that fine body, them pretty eyes. That view of you and this better mind. Had a think about wedding ties. Real one and I recognize that fine body, them pretty eyes. That view of you and this better mind. Had a think about wedding ties. Yo, I need your love. I'm feeling for your heart tonight. The sweetest touch of your soft hand in mine. Now let's get up into this tonight. Let me love you forever tonight. Oh, tonight, tonight. Oh, tonight, tonight. was talking all of that game, but to me it don't mean no thing. If you can't show me what you was just saying, you made that swift move to me, girl. Must've had your whip on swerve. I know that I rap, but I don't take lip service, just strip service or curve. So make them hips move for me, girl. Or you got tricks up in your sleeve. The way that perkin', I know you was working to get that up in them jeans, So tell me just what I like. Long as your words can match your work, then it's gonna be a perfect night, yeah.
Okay, all right, that was Tonight. And tonight we are getting ready to see what the team thought about that one. First up tonight is Ronnie V.
Well, I was listening to the song, and that's a nice little moving and grooving song. The more I listened to it, I thought the vocals were real nice, and I'm smooching a rose.
A smooch and a rose, Mr. Ronnie says.
All right. Nice to groove.
All right.
So nice.
Ronnie was in the groove.
My castle's tonight.
Okay, there may be some reason why you mentioned that. But anyway, we are going to the next member on our team, and I spy Miss Cookie.
Well, I'm not as generous as Ronnie B.
No.
I think it needs a little more something, but I can't put my finger on it. It just needs a dab of fertilizer.
Okay.
All right. Well, Mr. Ronnie B., that was a bit opposite of what you were appreciating there. But, hey, we all have our taste. Miss Cookie said a dab of fertilizer. And I would like to know what Miss Nikia, Lady Nikia, thought about tonight.
Well, my thoughts are, the seasonal hit Empire became famous for its vocals with the two brothers and how powerful they are together as well as independently. And I felt that same vibe with this song tonight. So I was very intrigued by the music, the vocals, the sound, the collection of instruments, and the manipulation of the instruments. I think it was great, and I think it would go very far, especially in today's time and society, with the population and with the hype behind Empire. It will fall right in line with it as long as it keeps its uniqueness and originality and don't blend too far into Empire to where there's no conflict. I think this was great, and I give it a smooch and a rose. Several.
Thank you.
The second smooch and rose. Yes, the second pair of smooches and roses on the team. And I believe I heard the voice of the wonderful Sunshine Princess of Poetry. Shawnee, what do you say about tonight?
I really like that. I was over here getting my groove on. I needed that tonight. I really, really needed that. I really like that. No, thank you. I'm going to give that a smooch and a rose.
A third smooch and a rose. The smooches and roses, hands down. But my opinion is being the last on the table of the team, definitely not my taste. A whole heap of fertilizer. And we are going right on to the next track on Symphony Number 1's album. Now this is called Let Me See Them Hands High.
Looking at a packed house full of people, keg as big as Beanie Siegel. Gotta hit them with that banger, so we did it just like Regal. Motion pictures in my kitchen when these ladies get to switching, and I kick that out if the shorty get to mischief. Cause the party ammunition kinda blurring up my vision. Ain't no money in my pocket, could've swore we charged admission fee. Everybody sipping, I ain't even gon' be tripping. But homie, I catch you slipping, you ain't whipping. We gotta stay safe but remain to have a good time. Fellas sipping brew and the ladies got the like wine. If I could get attention, but only a few seconds. DJ, can I get the mic? He said the flow is all mine. Let me see them hands high like you reaching for the ceiling. Let me see them eyes low if you feeling how I'm feeling, And if the homie one dance, lil' mama, let him get it. It's nothing but a party in this building. Let me see them hands high like you reaching for the ceiling. Let me see them eyes low if you feeling how I'm feeling. Ladies looking fine with they dresses all revealing. Get those people off the street, cause it's a party in this building. Let me see them high.
Me and my girls gon' shut it down. Go ahead and get another round. And you know we about to turn it up, so get your hands up.
And the party don't stop, cause we barely ever sleeping. House party moves every night of this weekend. Mixture in the cup, got the whole crew geeking. We drink, pour, drink, that's some refilling, repeating. Party so loud, all the hear us screaming. I'm trying to spit some game, but I'm slurring all I'm speaking. And everybody turning, ain't a damn thing concerning. Like the roof on fire, get that moan burning. Cause everybody here and they came to have some fun. I think we finally went in through the right one. Not a single light on, but them strobes in the corner. Let's get the whole block covered by the news reporters. Let me see them hands high like you reaching for the ceiling. Let me see them eyes low if you feeling how I'm feeling, And if the homie one dance, lil' mama, let him get it. It's nothing but a party in this building. Let me see them hands high like you reaching for the ceiling. Let me see them eyes low if you feeling how I'm feeling. Ladies looking fine with they dresses all revealing. Get those people off the street, cause it's a party in this building. Let me see them high.
It's been a minute since I've been this grown. Hear my jams and sing the phone. Show out and show up. Yeah, you know that's what's up. Let's go. Let's go.
Let me see them hands high like you reaching for the ceiling. Let me see them eyes low if you feeling how I'm feeling.
How I'm feeling.
Let me see them hands high like you reaching for the ceiling. Let me see them eyes low if you feeling how I'm feeling.
Oh, let me see them hands high. High, high, high. Going right to the panel. Right to the panel. And panel, we're coming right down the line. Shawnee, what did you think of Let Me See Them Hands High?
Okay, so I didn't like that as much as I liked the first one. For me, it was missing something. I like parts of it, so I'm gonna give it a rose petal.
A petal. A petal. Well, that is a nice way to start things off. I love that. And going right on down the line, Lady Nikia.
I would give that a smooch. It's a little more hip-hop-ish to me. my first comment still stands on the Empire aspect of things. I think that would definitely be a great hit with the more popular, with a more hip-hop genre. It kind of blends with some of the music of today. I'm a little old school, so it was nice, but it was just a little bit too fast paced with me, you know. But it was cool. Let me see them hands high.
All right, good.
Those hands are high. All right.
So
coming right up
a
next.
rose, a petal, a leaf.
I said I'm gonna give it a smooch. I said that in the beginning.
Yes, she did.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, all that other stuff, I missed it.
Oh my goodness.
I liked it, you know. I just, you know, that's just, you know, it was cool.
Right. Smooches. And Ronnie B, you heard the voice. Ronnie B, let us know.
I'm going to give it a smooch and a rose. Nice little party song, clean, and had a nice little beat and stuff, and I like it. Smooch rose.
Smooch and a rose.
Thank you.
Ronnie B. And Miss Cookie. Miss Cookie, what did you think of that one?
Does anybody have any fertilizer they want to give me?
Speed dial.
I have some fertilizer for you if you like.
Okay, I need it because that did not do me. The other one did give me a little bit, but that one just was off the chart the other way. Okay. So I'm just going to dump my fertilizer truck and borrow some from somebody else.
Okay.
Well, the young man understands the way it goes. All right. Well, that's definitely fair. It is fair. And, hey, what is it that they say? Hashtag, I can't. No. Fertilize.
Okay.
And revise. But
that's a goodie.
That's what it's about. Listen, audience, if you liked what you heard, and you probably did, Carl, let them know where they can hit you up.
Well, we have a Facebook page, which is the Audio Scientist Laboratory, and we also have a YouTube page, the same thing, the Audio Scientist Laboratory, and CDs are available at iTunes and Amazon, and you can go to those sites and purchase the CD.
All right.
Again, it's called the Audio Scientist Laboratory is the name of the band. The CD is called Symphony No. 1, and this is the debut CD of the band. A symphony is normally 4 movements, and there are 4 songs on the CD, so that's why we called it Symphony No. 1. We think this is our opus, or our magnum opus.
All right, y'all. All right, y'all. Please buy that man's record. He got to feed. He got to feed egos.
You got it.
He's saying, check it out.
The ghost of Mississippi Past.
You got it.
All right. Well, we are coming up on, I think, yet another break.
All right. Up next, Shawnee's Sunshine Lounge, Quiet Storm's interview with Carl Vest, and Voices from the Ethers. Please stay tuned.
All right, thank you.
Buy Carl's record.
Focus and commitment. You have plenty of good possibilities on this day. In this situation, pick one at a time. Commit to it and go with it. No looking back and no holding back. If you fill your mind with worry about missing out on other things, you miss out on everything. Focus on what you've chosen. Find satisfaction in it and leave the other things for other times and places. Your attention is most powerful when it's undivided. Your work is most effective when it is focused. Doing 2, 3, 4, or more tasks mean you're not doing any task as well as you could be. Give each effort, each experience the full attention it deserves. Let go of the mistaken assumption that your work is merely something to be endured. Put all you have into each thing you do. Watch as you continuously add new riches to your life. Honor every activity, every moment, every person and situation with your full attention and respect, and delight in the great rewards earned with focus and commitment.
Welcome back. We give it all to you on Grow Your Mind and Money. And yes, we do it all with love. Now it's time to visit the lounge. Shawnee, take it away, my love.
Thank you, Nakia. Welcome to Shawnee's Sunshine Lounge, where we feature a mixture of goodies that will stimulate your mind, maybe even having you tapping your feet, or like me, just cutting up over here on the corner. Tonight, we have an awesome poet, Benjamin King, performing Father, Father. Hey, DJ, that mic is hot.
All right.
Every time I pass you by, I see the effort, hair, and wrinkles in the smile that's in the test of time.
All right. Panel. Is Father getting some snap or some big old rotten tomatoes? We got
crack, and there you are, sitting there in strips of light, shirt and tie, lace with that middle class muscle and the earth in your back, and I'm trying not to cry. You look up, past the paving in the den, and you meet my eye. I run to you, and you pick me up, put me on your shoulders that bore all of life, and you make space for me. You make space for me. Love's free. Yeah, there's no limit to it. There's not pennies and dimes. You can never say I love you enough. I'll tell it to you 1,000 times. And I didn't get a chance at Mom, but the time ran out. God didn't allow, but it's not too late. You still have you, and I'm gonna take it now. You're the blueprint to my tapestry, the ribs to my heart. You've been lifting me ever since day one with strength and lion heart. And I am honored to be your son, to revolve around your star. And it'll be my greatest honor to be half the man you are. Father, with all the woes of men, towards the earth brings home the bread like nobody else can. Father, with all the woes of men, towards the earth brings home the bread like nobody else can. Teacher, sponsor, counselor, fighter, tutor, captain, confidant, friend, mentor, steward, leader, preacher, with all the complications of man, loving, strong, giving, guardian, best I ever had, selfless, fearless, faithful, tender, soldier, shepherd, saint, dad. What you want, that road, with everything else on your back, was it never just to go? Will I ever be stronger than that?
okay. Panel. Is Father getting snaps or some rotten tomatoes? We're going straight to Nakia.
Well, okay. Considering the fact that I listened to it twice now, unexpectedly, or was it twice, or was that still the same track? Was it still just one track?
Woo! Rotten tomatoes or snaps, Nakia? I don't know.
It was clearing.
It was.
It was one track.
We played it the way they sent it.
It sounded like it faded, then it went back into the song. So.
Oh, okay. Well, considering the longevity of it, I thought I was supposed to. Okay, so, well, I mean, I understand. Well, okay, so it was actually a song, not so much poetry. I'm a little confused. Okay, so let's revisit. I gotta give it some tomatoes because I'm confused. I like tomatoes. I know what I'm supposed to like it. And it's too long. Okay.
Thank you, baby.
Confused before. Okay, but okay. I'm done.
Quiet store.
I enjoyed that. I have to say, I'm just going to go right into it. Number one, I really like the melody. I did like the melody. I really wish the young man had strongly considered having someone else with a bass melanated voice do the vocals. I appreciate the sentiments just in time for Father's Day. But the double dose was definitely overkill. And frankly, for me, whoever did the vocals, for me, really the voice made it corny and took the magic, the power from it. So that's how I felt about it.
Rotten tomatoes?
I didn't like the voice was just no.
That's not answering my question.
I like being in the
Why, Storm, you didn't answer Shani's question.
You giving snap for Rotten Tomatoes, baby?
I will give it a snap.
Oh, it still managed to get a snap. Wow.
Woo! And we gonna slide on over to you, Ronnie B.
I'm like, wow. I liked the track. I thought it was just way too long. Way too long. If it had been about half that length of time, I would have been giving it snap toe taps. I'm on a different side of the fence than with Quiet Storm on the vocals. They were the authentic vocals. I'm fine with that. They were, but not that it just went too long. So I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to throw a tomato at him.
Okay. All right. Our wonderful guest, Carl Best, snap for Rotten Tomatoes.
I actually thought it was a great track. I would tend to agree with Ronnie a little. It was a little long because it did kind of fade out to where, you came in and thought, okay, this is over, and it came back with another verse on it. And I think the person made their point in the first half of the song before it kind of faded and came back again. You got it, father. And I had a great relationship. My dad, he passed last year, so I love the song. I think it's great. So I'll give it the snap. If the snap is good, I'll give it a snap. Again, just again thinking maybe a hair too long, but I thought it was a good song.
All right. Well, I appreciate everybody's input. I'm going to rip it up. I'm going to rip this up because, okay, first of all, I love the sentiment of Father, but I missed like 90% of it because you couldn't freaking hear him. So if you're going to do your piece, which is powerful, I'm sure, you don't want anybody's music or your singing to overshadow the hard work that you put because you completely missed the message. So, like, I didn't get anything out of that. Like, I couldn't grab the vocals. I couldn't grab the message out of it. And I'm like, okay, and then it's like super long, and the drop on it don't even freaking go there. I don't even do music, and I know that don't freaking go there. Like, why would you do that to yourself? It's like, okay, your message just went right out the window. So I'm going to give it some fertilizer, some potatoes. I'm going to go get me cookie stuff. I'm going to go knock on Darnell's door because that just killed me. I'm like, okay, I'm waiting on this. I'm waiting on this awesome message in the lounge. I was like, ready. So, yeah, I'm going to need you to go back to the drawing board and fix that because you just completely destroyed that whole freaking message.
Go back to the lab, huh?
You need to start all over with that. Like, you done hurt my feelings. And I love my daddy. But I hope, listeners, that you enjoyed the performance from Benjamin King. Benjamin, get yourself together. You can check him out on oldgrumpyhouston.com and YouTube. It is time to continue with our wonderful interview with our amazing guest, Carl Best. Quiet Storm, my love, take it away.
Thank you so much. Hi, Carl. Definitely want to thank you again for being on the show, sharing your experiences, and being way authentic. Just being you. Thank you, Carl.
Well, thank you for having me.
You are welcome. Well, like Ronnie B. said, in this segment, we will learn more about Carl Best and some of the challenges that he faces having the Audio Sciences Laboratory exceed all expectations. And Carl, to start off, can you please share what they call the aha moment? That's when you knew in your heart of hearts that forming the Audio Sciences Laboratory was indeed the right thing for you?
Well, the aha moment, again, as I mentioned earlier, I love reading books. And that's where I get most of my information and kind of figure out what's going on in the world is through reading. So I love architecture, and architecture forms the process of building, one brick at a time, that whole thing. So the aha moments for the audio scientist laboratory for me really came about through reading books on architecture primarily, reading many books, but again, architecture and the way that using a house, the way that each area of the house is built, the door, the living room, the archways. In architecture, each area of the house or of a building is put together with, 1,000% thought process that has gone into it. So for me, that's one of the things that we do with the Audio Scientist Laboratory. Each section of a song, we put a lot of time in it, and each instrument that goes into it. Because one of the things that can happen is that in terms of putting a song together, we spend a lot of time, let's say, laying the foundation with maybe the bass and the drums. Or when you start adding other instruments or things on top, we may come back and say, well, now that we've got the drum on there, we added something else, maybe the drum sound is not good now. So we go and change the drum sound. Well, when you change the drum sound, then maybe the third piece of instrument that you added no longer sounds good because now you got a different drum sound and it makes the song different. So again, back to architecture and back to your question, the aha moments for me were reading books on architecture that really helped develop my love and gain steam for the interest in the Audio Scientist Laboratory in terms of looking at every piece of what we put into a song and pretty much every aspect of the band and of the process being looked at with a fine-tooth comb.
So the process is your aha moment.
The process is me. I love the process. So yes, that is
sounds like
very well put.
I'm going to have to interrupt for just a bit because the process is never your aha moment.
I know a writer that is named Bill Harris.
No. Just hear me out.
Okay.
When did you create the name, the Audio Scientist Laboratory?
Well, that was actually done some years ago, which was through our production company, which was the name of our production company. And
okay,
then,
when did you name and so several years ago you named the production company the Audio
Scientist Laboratory, right. So then
let me ask you this. So when you consider that like the birth?
Not necessarily, because it sort of transpired with the story I mentioned earlier, when the other people left or, did their thing. And we kind of got this new, it was me and my associate, Kevin Ford. We kind of started thinking, well, so now let's go with a new whole remake. Let's do the whole remake and whole remodel, a whole restructuring of the whole process. So at that time we decided, well, let's out with the old, in with the new. And let's do the name that we used as our production company became the name of the band.
Would that maybe considered the moment? Because moments are like a moment.
That would be considered the moment. I mean, it was a discussion.
Okay, now you get where I was coming from.
Yeah, I got you. No, the moments are moments. And there's a lovely song by Dionne Warwick and Stevie Wonder called "Moments Are Moments." So keep that in mind.
Okay. And quiet storm, just because we're all trying to grow our mind. Do you get where I was coming from with Carl?
Where you're coming from now?
Well, now that me and Carl have had that you get where I was coming from with Carl while I was like the that, you know, haven't been pressed forward for the moment? Oh, well, maybe you don't. Go on to the next question.
I understand. I got to what you were saying. I understand what you were saying, though. And again, yes, that was the moment me and Kevin were having conversations about going forward. And then I had brought forward, why don't we do this since we're starting new and starting the whole process sort of over again? Why, you know, we're starting from the bottom up. Why don't we change the name? And that name seemed to fit what we were interested in doing.
We got Quiet Storm. Back to you.
All right. Right. Well, many aha moments. Well, Carl, what circumstances, what people or new challenges come into consideration as you do the work to manifest your goals and exceed all expectations?
Well, my associate again, Kevin Ford, is great in terms of one of the people. And we have many, many hours of conversation about our music and about the direction and everything. And that, for us, that's one of the great goals that, you know, many people just like to work and, you know, do the involvement of putting music together. One of the things I love to do is to talk about, because to me it's, again, back to architecture, it's sort of giving the music form or life when we finally get to doing the music. So we spend a lot of hours, probably equal amounts, talking about what we want to do as well as performing and putting it together. So Kevin Ford would be one of the people that I greatly admire. And Prince recently passed away, and in hearing, and God rest his soul, and one of the things with a lot of the things that have come out about him, you really recognize that this guy was just completely devoted to his work and to his art. And what a great inspiration. That's the positive of Prince. On the negative of Prince, I think in the last number of years, the quality control of his music has been very bad. Because I've always said Prince needed a producer, even though he was a producer in the later years. In his earlier years, he got it. But, you know, the music changed, and I think he could have stood a good producer to assist him. But just his ethic, his work ethic, and I think the concept of him as an artist and his development and his continued growth is what I greatly admire. And again, a lot of that has come out since he's passed. I always dug him before that, but again, we knew.
I'm going to interrupt you a little bit because the question was, because I might kind of, you know, and part of what, and Quiet Storm is really generous, but her job is to reel you in to make sure the question gets answered.
Okay.
The question was, what circumstances, people, or new challenges come into consideration as you do the work to manifest your goals and exceed all expectations? So, like an architect, you're building the building, you're creating the structure, but there are forces. You know, there may be wind. There may be weather issues that weren't there before. So as you're building the audio scientist laboratory, do you see any circumstances and people, you know, mainly not specific people, but for the industry and what you're doing that are being a consideration for you?
Well, I hope naming Kevin and Prince were the people that sort of assisted the process of the circumstances to continue in the direction. Some of the other things involved
Can you give us an example? Because can you give us an example? You know, like is one of the issues that you see as a challenge being able to promote the music across the internet in a way that gets the largest audience?
Well, that's one thing, but I think for us, one of the biggest challenges, if that is my correct understanding of part of the question, is always trying to keep the music current. Because in terms of the, you know, architecture and the wind, you know, knocking the building this way, that way, the music industry certainly changes very frequently. And so keeping the music current and then also keeping the music 6 months from now. So by the time you release something, not only does it have to be current, but it has to sort of be 6 months down the road. And I think one of the panelists mentioned something to that effect earlier, that some of the songs kind of sounded us today when the young lady was mentioning about Empire, talking about sort of today in our own direction of that. But you have to keep it current, so that can always be a challenge, to keep sort of one foot in today and the other foot in tomorrow. So by the time you put something out, it's right in the middle. So that can be a challenge.
Wow. Well, Quiet Storm, back to you, my dear.
Okay. All right. Well, Carl, I'm going to go forward. Now, doing that, can you please share a disappointment that involved working with others that still has you shake your head to this very day?
A disappointment in working with others. One of the ones was what I mentioned earlier with the circumstances of the band. I would say a current disappointment would be some of the organizations. There was a particular organization that we wanted to work with that does college radio promotion, and basically the response back was our music is too commercial. So, which is on one hand, as my mother calls it, a backhanded compliment, because it's clearly for the radio, but this particular organization was interested in working with people that were a little bit more underground than us. So it was not a negative in reference to the way I perceived it. It wasn't a negative that they didn't necessarily like the music. They just thought it wasn't underground enough for what they were interested in promoting. And so they turned us down, which again, I understand everybody's not going to like it or be able to work with us. That was a little bit of a disappointment for someone to say that, your music is really good in this area, and commercial is what, in my mind, I've always wanted to, I'm not one of those people that is a purist and want just 5 people to enjoy what we do. I want millions of people to do it, and it takes time to get to that. So for someone to say that you've achieved that goal, but we don't want to work with you because we're more interested with working with people that, are underground or, not necessarily as commercial. That was a bit of a disappointment. But again, you have to move forward and just try to find people that are interested in what you are, your vision.
All right. Well, kind of the opposite of that question. Can you please share a specific moment or event where your efforts and the work of others bring a smile to your face?
Absolutely. I really love our CD, our music or download or CD. The Symphony No. 1, I really admire the great work that Kevin and I put into it, because it took quite a bit of time and a lot of love and some tears in the respect that, it didn't always work out. And a lot of times with the music, as I mentioned earlier, you can be going down one path and, with the sounds of the instruments or the voices or the music, and change one, put one tweak, or as you guys call it, one little bit of fertilizer in another area because something's not working right. And when you put that fertilizer on that area, it may change the other 9 aspects of the song that were initially working. So I enjoy the fact that we did and do take the time to pinpoint each area. As I mentioned, in terms of architecture, each area of a house and each structural piece of a house is given 100% when you're building something, building a house or whatever. And that's the way we look at our music. So and it has happened on many occasions, if 9 pieces were right and 1 piece was wrong, and we changed the 1 piece, and then it suddenly made the other 9 pieces wrong, we would actually tackle the very large task of working on the other 9 pieces till they became right as the 1 piece that suddenly changed the other 9 pieces and got everything sounding to our satisfaction. So again, having said that, I am very satisfied with the outcome of what Symphony Number 1 sounds like, because there was a lot of great love and a lot of great work that went into that.
That comes in loud and clear. Well, we could talk forever, but it is time to hear from our listeners. And Ronnie B., what do you hear from the ethers?
Well, I do apologize, but we have not got an update from the ethers, but we have a reminder that the final 2 sessions of the Prosperous Divas Grow Your Mind and Money online seminar series is June 23rd, Thursday, June 23rd, and Thursday, June 30th. For details, go to prosperousdivas.com. You do not want to miss these final 2 episodes of the show. It's going to be, let's see, one moment. It lets you know what the series is going. The finale, Mastering Pragmatic Spiritual Principles for Growing Wealth, led by none other than our own Empress of Faith, Nakia Franklin, and the finale with everyone attending, and the finale will be Thursday, June 30th, the Grow Your Mind and Money Velocity Generator. That's it. That's the end of this series. You want to get in on it, but enough of our sales pitch for tonight. But again, it really is an awesome, awesome seminar. People are getting their lives out of it, and in a fun, empowering, practical way. Shani, take us to break.
Coming up in the next segment, the finale with Carl Vest, Food for Thought, and the prosperity work.
Good.
Positive progress. Bemoaning your problems will not solve those problems. Put your focus and energy into working through the difficult situations. When you have a spare moment, don't waste that moment. Don't waste that moment feeling sorry for yourself or eliciting the sympathy of others. Use it to make some positive progress. What matters now is not what happened or how unfair it was or how much you wish that things were different. What matters right now is what you do now to move forward. Today is one big opportunity to take action. Seize that opportunity and continue working on it. You are stronger than the challenges. You are stronger than the challenges. The most effective way to exercise that strength is not in one big push, but in sustained effort over time. Each moment, each new moment is your chance to make a new effort to create positive progress. And as you keep going, as a result of your work, your problems are solved and your goals achieved.
Welcome back. We give it all to you and Grow Your Mind and Money. And you better believe that we do it all with love. Oh, yeah. It's time for the finale. Nakia, over to you.
All right. Thank you so much. Carl, thank you for sharing. I have been moved and inspired and had an opportunity to, have some insight and look at some things differently. And I appreciate your presence on the show tonight.
Well, thank you for having me. It's been a very deep and detailed conversation. It's been wonderful.
Awesome. And we would definitely love to have you back. So
I would definitely love to be back.
Awesome. We're going to jump into our questions so we can definitely make sure that the audience stays engaged.
Okay.
So what challenges do you see lurking in the waters that will try to slow you down or take you off the path from having the audio scientist laboratory succeed beyond expectations?
Well, again, one of them was what I mentioned earlier about the person that we were interested in working with, but it's caused us to go deeper, then we probably would have to try to find other people to sort of step in and do the same thing that this person was going to do for us. So,
okay. So your challenge is we're going to bypass the past. So we're looking forward to the future, and we're looking at the present.
correct.
So
Correct.
what do you currently see that will slow you down or take you off that path? You know, whether it's a new challenge or what specifically is it that you need that's preventing you from or you're feeling that is taking you away from that?
Well, promoting the project is the challenge, and that would be something that can slow you down, because after you do all this hard work and say, okay, great, you have this wonderful product, then you really have to sit there and promote it, and you have to spend pretty much the same amount of time and the same amount of money to promote it. So that's sort of an eye opener in the respect that, you know, like I say, the number of years or the number of time that we spent all this work, then it's like, you know, you can't just suddenly wake up and say, oh, okay, everybody's going to get it. You have to sit there and work it. So, and it's like, oh, okay, I have to do this. And, you know, so that becomes the challenge now. It's like, okay, you know, we've got to sit and spend, you know, time, money, and finding, again, as I mentioned earlier, finding the right people to assist us with that. So then that becomes, you know, chasing down people and that whole process. So it becomes another, so again, architecturally speaking, it becomes another way to build another building, because now you have to build what you've created. Now you have to sell what you've created, and that becomes a building in and of itself.
Exactly. Okay, great. So let's please share 2 pitfalls you have seen people fall into when it comes to being consistent in their actions for growing their careers, wealth, health, or well-being.
Well, the one, again, speaking on what I've spoken on tonight, is you get people that lose interest, and particularly in this phase of trying to do the promotion, because, again, as musicians or rappers and singers or this kind of thing, everybody wants to perform. And that's great, and that's beautiful, and that is sort of the highlight and the epitome of what we do as artists. But having said that, you can't really get to that part of what you enjoy and or love doing until you do what is required on this end in terms of all the hard work and the back end. So people tend to lose interest in this phase of the project because, in addition to some of the other ones, but putting it together. But this phase is also complicated because this is another period of time that's required to promote the project. And again, it's not necessarily performing just yet. We're trying to promote it so where we can get to the place where we want to perform it. But right now it's promoting it. So that's one challenge and one pitfall. The second one in terms of health and well-being is that doing all this when you have, families or children or wives or husbands or whatever, we have females in the band as well. It can be a complicated process because it requires many hours outside of your, if you're working a job and again, family. So it requires many hours away from the other thing that you love, which is hopefully your family and your friends and that kind of thing. So it can be very complicated to be away from family and work. So you have to devote as much time to this as you do to family and your job. So that would be the other thing that just being away from family can cause people to lose interest in the project also.
Absolutely. Okay, awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
Yes.
I'm sure so many people can definitely relate to that. Those that are within the industry, those that are trying to break down the doors to get into the industry, and those that are just seeking it out and trying to figure out how to start and where to begin. So would you please share with us one practice you use daily to keep yourself in action and focus on the results you intend to produce?
I meditate. Try to do it twice a day, but if not, at least once a day for about a half hour each time, because that tends to center me and be my sort of alone time in my own head and in my own body. It's like, okay, cut the noise out in all directions and from everybody. And that helps me focus. Also, yoga, I started yoga some years ago, and that's been pretty helpful, along with exercise. Also read the Bible, and listening to music is something I enjoy doing, which is very inspiring. And again, as I mentioned earlier, reading books is probably my number one love. So I love to read. So those things tend to help me gain food and strength and wisdom to continue the process and the fight.
Awesome. And in my year or so of doing this show, meditation frequently comes up. So, that is very inspiring and a consistent pattern that people can identify with. So what do you have on your plate, and how can our listeners learn more about the world of the Audio Scientist Laboratory?
What we have on our plate right now is, again, we are promoting the project. We're working with some people that are about to try to get us some national airplay, and in addition to some college radio play. So that's what we're working on right now, which is a very exciting process. And the ultimate goal, as I mentioned earlier, would be to get this project on stage. And so we're putting the pieces of that puzzle and that architectural process together to present live what we did in the recording studio, because live and recording are really two different mediums, pretty much like film and Broadway or live theater.
Absolutely.
Two different, avenues. But again, it takes as much time, or probably even I would say a little bit more, in terms of when you want to get a project live, because then it doesn't always become a direct reflection of creating what you've recorded, because sometimes what you've recorded doesn't work well live. So sometimes the arrangements of the music become different than what you recorded. So that maybe a song that sounds a little bit different live, or the feel of a song has to be presented live in a different manner. So, but you have to sometimes play around with the you start this song clearly by what you've recorded, but then sometimes when you start recording, it doesn't have the feel, or doesn't have a live feel, or it's not conducive to working with an audience, because again, a performance is a two-way sort of love affair, with you giving out to the audience, and then hopefully they're giving back, and then that relationship builds and builds and builds, because they give you more, you give them more, and it keeps growing.
Right, you got to be able to connect with them, and
you have to connect, exactly. And so in order to do that, it doesn't always work with what you've recorded. Like I say, sometimes you have to do something a little bit different. So then you have to find what works. So, and that process can take, some rehearsals. Like, this is not working, but that can take some time.
It takes a lot of trial and error, and actually getting out there and being exposed and seeing what the people feel, what they don't feel, and how you got to mix it up and modify it in the process
Thank you.
That consistency. So
exactly. Thank you. You said it much better than I could say it. So thank you.
Okay, so, I definitely want to say thank you and appreciate you, Carl, for being on Grow Your Mind and Money. We definitely would love you to come back and
I would love to come
present to us, new tracks or modified tracks,
Absolutely.
We really appreciate it.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate all of you and the feedback, the great feedback that you've given tonight, both for the positive and for the areas of improvement or the areas of the fertilizer, which is always a good thing. So thank you for sharing your thoughts, and thank you for having me and the project, the Audio Scientist Laboratory, here on your show. I'm very honored.
Excellent. And, one more time, can you let us know and let the audience know, the listeners know, how to reach you, and is there anything that you have coming up?
Okay, they can, again, we have a Facebook page, the Audio Scientist Laboratory, a YouTube page, same thing, the Audio Scientist Laboratory, and you can purchase the download for our EP or individual songs at Amazon and iTunes. And we don't have anything specific coming up just yet in terms of new things. We are going to start working on new material. Again, it takes us a little while to get everything done straight and done proper, so we're going to start working on some new material maybe within the next month while we're still promoting this project. And again, we are working to get the national radio campaign going and some national college radio going as well. So we do have those two things in the works, as well as some international radio, internet airplay we're working on as well.
Okay, so the best way to reach you is through Facebook, or is there a specific website or anything?
Actually, there's not, but the best way to reach me, they can reach me at my email address, which is cvest, V as in victory, EST, at mail.com, MAIL. So, again, that's cvest, just like the one you wear, at mail.com.
Awesome. Thank you so very much.
You are very welcome. Thank you.
I wonder what special dish Ronnie B has whipped up for us on Food for Thought. Thank you again, Carl. Ronnie B, take it away.
Inspiration beyond the moment. At times, your environment may not be conducive to getting good creative work done. That's too bad. Yet it doesn't have to stop you. As difficult and uninspiring as the situation may be, you can rise above it. After all, if work was only done in perfect conditions, no work would ever get done. Look beyond the moment that is. Focus on the ways things can be, on the good you can do. When you're in a supportive environment, make the most of it. When you're not, choose to forge ahead anyway. You have great things to do. Don't let a few inconveniences, distractions, or thoughtless people stop you. Draw inspiration from the world around you when you can. And remember, you can always find inspiration beyond the moment when you must. Given the theme, inspiration beyond the moment, one action I will definitely take this week is to create me a nice little picture, a little prosperity picture with a car and jewelry and pretty women and island and house stuff I would like to have, and the old grumpy little doggy right in the middle to give me some inspiration, because those are things, just pretty things that I like to inspire me on my path to prosperity. Over the quiet storm for the prosperity work.
Create inspiration. Oftentimes, we are waiting on some outside influence to inspire us, when in fact, we have the power to create and be inspiring. We allow our cynicism and righteousness to block our natural occult power to bring inspiration to life. We are created from divine substance. When we own our divinity, we are naturally inspired. and we give life to inspiration in others. The work. Create a list of the people, circumstances, events, and things where you have surrendered your power to be inspiring. Ask these questions. What reasons or excuses do I use to justify my lack of inspiration in this area? What conversations am I willing to give up to allow the space of inspiration to arise? What conversations can I be responsible for creating that will leave me personally inspired and perhaps move and touch and inspire others? Do not attempt this alone. Get support. This is the key. Say this affirmation daily. I am created from divine substance. My wealth, goodwill, and well-being cannot be stopped. Divine order is now established in me and in my world. Share your list with at least one person daily and invite them to participate. Remember, demand a miracle.
A world of peace and prosperity, one listener at a time.